Across LC with your hosts, Jeff Allsman and Cody Zippmann.
Hey, this is the A2Z Across LC podcast. I'm Jeff Allsman. Alongside is Cody Zippmann. And Cody, last time I called you a sidekick, and people went... Did I say Zipridge? So last time I called you a sidekick,
Cody
now I got
Zippmann.
your name wrong.
But
Cody
that's all right.
Zippmann.
That's all right. That's good.
Oh my! Now I'm gonna get all these comments again coming up. Last time everybody was upset because I called you a sidekick. I didn't mean anything derogatory by it. You see all the comments we got because Cody, he's a star. He's not the sidekick. Sidekick. Cody's not a sidekick.
10,000 plus views.
10,000. It's almost 30,000 now.
Are you serious?
You haven't been keeping up.
30,000 plus views. That fires me up. Thank you so much for all our listeners.
And almost 25,000 saying you're not the sidekick.
I'm the star.
You're the star.
Which means I need to start
Which means you
right
should
now?
just be, well, I don't know if we want to go that far or not.
Yes, I do, because we're coming off a couple Drake concerts that we worked for fundraising over there. And I got to shout out to my women's soccer team, Kinley, Bren, Chigas, Rose, and Alona. All my life, never gonna keep me down. That one's for you out there.
That's going to really increase the views right there. If we could just cut the video, it would have been fine. But you got the audio. We don't have a chance. Something's going to stick.
They
in
love
there,
it. They love it. They're dancing right now to it.
Hey, we've got a great program today, or at least we think we do. We'll find out, I guess. But
first of all, wait a minute. Again, you
am I
pulled
jumping
it off.
ahead too far?
No, you're not. Because once again, you have an awesome show. I cannot believe
this is teamwork.
But you get the guess. I just do a little bit of the legwork, right, on the athletic side. I can't believe you got Tyler O'Neill to fly in from Boston to be on this show.
Under the alias of Shane Callahan.
Shane Callahan, the
our
glass
professor of exercise science, happens to be our golf coach as well. Looks like Tyler O'Neill in almost every facet of his body.
And if you look at the KD Cup, every time we have an event, there's an injury. So plays like Tyler O'Neill. Aspect of the body.
I would not be saying that about somebody who looks like he looks, because he would whoop me up one side and down the other.
Well, look, he enjoys the Val Harris experience. And we know Val every time she plays.
Now you're knocking somebody else down.
No. They love it. There is no bad pub.
You wait till we bring Shane on, and he's just going to unload on you. And I'm not going to defend you. I'm going to let him have free access.
We go way back.
Okay, well, you're going to be going about 4 feet back, probably out of the chair. So, we also have with us in another segment our men's and women's basketball coaches, Kavon, Lacey, and Issac Moore, to talk about their programs. They're right in the heat of things. We just came off of the NBA All-Star Game. Did you watch any of that by way, or any of the weekend? Or
the only thing I know about it is that sweet, sweet court that Brian McKinney said that we need to have. Dr. T, are you listening? There's something with this interactive where I guess it almost looked like they were video game players. So when they shot or jumped, it was like a video screen was the court. And he said, next up for our basketball program.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't see that part of it, but they were making half-court jump shots.
Oh, okay.
They were showing off. But it is the All-Star Game. 211 points one team scored.
211.
It was like 211 to 179 or something. You'll have to ask. We'll defer to the coaches.
Where did the defense go?
What defense?
Probably where Callahan's golf game is.
You just asking for it. You just, he can hear everything you're saying. Just because he's not on the screen at the moment, he's within earshot, and he's probably, I bet his face just getting red right now, and he's just going to come in and dump all over you.
I like to fire him up.
Just remember, you're the star.
That's true, and it's all about the views.
It is.
So if he does come across the table, the views go up.
We should talk a little bit about some of the events that are going to be happening here in the near future. That's part of what one of our segments is all about, believe it or not. And we should also thank the 30,000+ viewers who watched our initial podcast on Facebook. This would be the perfect time to look right in the camera and say, if you haven't seen it, go see it. Like, subscribe, whatever all those things are that you do. But I had no idea we'd hit that mark at all. But man, is it
completely surprising,
humbling, and we're very gracious.
When you're the star, I expected it. But straight into the camera, a couple alumni out there, Mike Vaccaro, Ty Grodenfant. I know you're out there. We're going to have you on. I think we're going to create a segment, Alumni Alley, and we can bring in alumni, see what they're doing now.
I like that a lot.
I know you guys talked to me over at the Blues game when I saw you, and we're going to make that happen.
I do like that. That sounds like that's one of the smartest things you've said in the 2 times you've been on here.
Star, baby.
So looking ahead to March, of course, all kinds of things that are going on. We picked out a couple of them to talk about. College for Life is having a job fair on March 7th. It's also going to be the beginning of spring season for baseball and softball and men's and women's tennis, and we'll be talking to some of those coaches as we proceed through our different shows here. I know you wanted to mention a little bit about the baseball team that just came back
3-0 on the road down in Oklahoma. I'm Fergalicious. That's what I'm talking about, Coach Ferg. That's what I'm talking about. 3-0 and back at strength and conditioning at 6 o'clock in the morning.
What is in this?
That's like my 4th bottle because I'm straight off fundraising with the Blues. So we had an early morning fundraising there, into the podcast, down to tennis practice, then the study hall. We're moving around here.
It's just a regular power powder, though, right? I mean, nothing.
It is just a little bit of caffeine. But when
I think it's a lot of caffeine.
When you put 5 of them together.
Yeah, no doubt.
Crystal Light, if you want to sponsor Lewis and Clark Athletics. I drink this all the time.
Oh, my goodness. So anyway, lots of things happening. And if you want to find out what's going on event-wise here at the campus with the different things we have athletics-wise, program-wise, club and organization-wise, if you'll just go to events.lc.edu, the public calendar will come up. You can search through it and find all of the information as it pertains to events that are happening on campus. Always seems like there's something going on that's noteworthy, and we pick out a few of them and tell you about them here. But anything that we might miss, you can always find out on your own. So there it is. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Shane Callahan. I'm probably going to move back a few feet so that he has extra room to clobber and work on zipperage. On zipperage. Yes, exactly. But we'll do that right after this. This is the A to Z podcast. Oh my goodness, A to Z Across LC podcast.
We are
LC A to Z.
DJ Mike Keith. This is where I am today. Let me show you where I started.
And welcome back to the A to Z Across LC podcast. Jeff Allsman here. Cody Zippmann.
We're back.
Is right next door here. We're going to bring in our first guest of the program. Shane Callahan is the professor of exercise science on campus. He's also the golf coach. And Shane, welcome to A to Z Across LC.
Thank you for having me.
Callie, it's good to have you, big dog.
I'm thrilled to be sitting across from you after that last segment.
I told you he heard it all. I told you he heard it all.
I love it. Glad there's a table between us.
I was going to say, fortunately, we didn't let him sit in my chair because you'd be within arm's reach. And I don't know if the camera can zoom in. Probably not. But if you see those arms, you'd know what I'm talking about.
Just remember who pays the athletic bills, my friend.
I know where you live, so don't worry.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, Shane, let's give you an opportunity first to talk about your program, Exercise Science, what that entails, what it is you teach. We'll do that, and then want to bring in a few other topics and kind of pick your brain a bit.
Yeah, the Exercise Science is a 2-year degree. It's basically we put together almost 20 years ago. It's been on the campus now, and it's really meant to train students to put them out in the professional or private setting, either as a trainer or prepare them to go on in school for athletic training, physical therapy, corporate health, public health, whatever facet. So there's 8 main classes that consist of the exercise science program. And basically each course is an area that you could go on in school. You get your bachelor's degree and then specialize in a master's. So for instance, you have biomechanics, you have sport and exercise psych, you have assessment prescriptions, you have special populations. So it's really meant to just be this kind of wide, broad range to introduce students in. And then of course I encourage them to go on further in school. But if not, they can plug in at least at a local entity, or even regionally. There's things that we can do because our field's still the Wild West. I mean, there's a lot of people that are in the industry that aren't, degreed or certified for what the gold standards are, but we're trying to ramp that up. So that's helpful.
Okay, so real quick, program versus program, broadcast streaming versus exercise science. Mike Keith, Michael Ryder. Who's your big success
my
story?
go-to? I've got a recent kid.
Yeah?
Alex, which he's at Eastern.
Okay.
He's in his graduate program, and he just basically inked a deal to do strength conditioning with University of Illinois.
Okay, awesome, sweet.
Yeah, he's really doing well. Bradenberger's his last name. Tremendous student.
He's one-upping you, Mike Lemons. He's one-upping you.
I don't know about that.
Is that the kind of thing that if you take a look at me, I don't exactly exude exercise when you at a first glance. Not these days, maybe earlier on. But does that really matter that much? I mean, is this something that anybody can do when they learn and can teach it to others? Or do you find that just because of the nature of what happens in this class and in this area of study, most folks come in either physically fit or with some type of hobby, or fitness plays some role in their life? Is that a must, or is it something that maybe it will happen over time just as they get more interested? Or is it half of our population eliminated because they don't take care of themselves like they should?
No, it's through the years we've had traditional, non-traditional students. There's no prereq. Sometimes you get people that are just interested in health and fitness and exercise, and then, as you know, we've got a lot of athletes that it just tends to go hand in hand, exercise science with some of the athletes, especially the sports psych and the physio stuff. But there's no requirement. Luckily, it reflects the population. You get a lot of age difference, you get a lot of physique difference, a lot of experience differences. So it's welcome to anybody, and it's an open enrollment program. So it's not like you have to start. You don't have to catch it in the fall. You can catch it in the spring if you're a new student. You can dabble your toe in and see if physio or strength training is something that's really you're into or not. And a lot of the lessons are pretty simplistic. Physiologies can be difficult, but at the base of it, making some behavioral changes, that's the harder part. I can teach, clients everything about physio and how the body works, but if you can't make the behavioral change, that's the tricky part. So we spend a lot of time. There's a whole class dedicated to exercise psychology.
So I want to jump in, and this could be a two-parter, just because you talked about, hand in hand with athletics or the athlete. You have interns, and I've seen now this semester you have interns in the morning with our strength and conditioning program, which you're just so kind for us to be able to use the exercise science lab for part of our facility. So obviously that's an avenue through that pathway, but then just, I guess, talk about all of them. You could talk about a little bit what they do here with our athletic teams, but also in general out of exercise science.
Yeah, so our interns from out of exercise science, it plugs tremendously well in. So athletics, we're grateful to have the opportunity. Plus we have interns from SIUE who are in undergrad and grad school that come in. So basically at the end of the program at 2 years, you qualify for the internship. XSCI 271 is the number on it. And it's meant to be kind of a capstone experience. So as Dustin Duncan that runs our strength conditioning, and as we keep evolving this program and making it more and more data driven, we'll bring in the assessment part. So we'll get baseline data on athletes, and then we'll do the intervention of the training, and then we'll kind of put all that data together, and we'll be able to give it not only to the athlete, but to the respective coach to say, we've made X amount of gains. You can use that for recruiting in our programs, and you can also use this, give it back to your athlete and let them use it as a profile to go on. Outside of that, I've got interns at Senior Services Plus, which is a local place, the very medical model driven facility. It's tremendous. I have students at SIUE. I have students at Eastern. I have students that help me sometimes on projects on the side, just with like Discovery Day going on today. Macy Gall is one of our interns. She's going to sit out as the student perspective and talk to individuals that come in. So easy for me to sell the program, and I think that it's interesting, but a much better intervention with the student sitting there talking about her real life experiences, and she's an intern. So I let the interns pick wherever they want to go. If we don't have a new deal inked with the facility, it's not a problem. They just bring in, put me in contact, we fill out the paperwork, and sky's the limit. Anything that interests these students, I'm all for. I'm never going to tell them they can't do that there.
I love that.
That's Shane Callahan. He is a professor of exercise science here on campus. We're going to take a short break, come back, talk to him more about his program, and then we want to get into the topic of sports psychology, because I think that's something that's really, really fascinating. So we'll jump into that here in a minute. So we'll be right back. This is the A2Z Across LC podcast.
We are
LC A to Z.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
And welcome back to the A2Z Across LC podcast. Jeff Allsman here, Cody Zippmann here as well. Our guest for this segment is Shane Callahan, the professor of exercise science here on campus. And Shane, one of the things I wanted to talk about and just kind of pick your brain is the sports psychology. The way I interpret that, not knowing a whole lot about it, is like being in the zone and all of the variables that it takes to get you there and how to keep you there. Am I close? Is that right? You can explain it, I'm sure, much better than I could try to.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tenets to sports psych, right? So that's an issue, being in the flow and being in the zone. But there's also motivation, there's performance anxiety, there's visualization, there's team cohesion. There's a whole bunch of variables that fit into that category of sports psychology. So we look at it with the team dynamic, we look at it as the individual, and we've got a lot of the athletes that take my sports psychology class, which it's taught as more of a seminar. It's not your typical class. So literally it's taught to improve their performance while they're at this level, and then if they transition to the next level, and also go through some kind of broader life lessons it tends to bode itself well to. But the flow state is, that's a remarkable thing that we were kind of having a nice chat before this about. You see the Jordans and the Tiger Woods that literally in flow for a decade, which is unheard of. But if we think about, everybody that's been an athlete, your best or your worst performance, those typically stick out to you. And if you've ever been in a slump, 2 or 3 weeks later, you might make one small change and suddenly it's out and you just go, oh my goodness, that was the simplest thing. How come I forgot it? Which is the anxiety. Because when you're experiencing the anxiety, you just want to get out of the anxiety. And if you're overloaded on anxiety as an athlete, you know it, because you normally hit the button of just get me off this court, field, wherever you're at. That tells you you're overloaded. The stress level is beyond your capability. So you got to shut it down. But I always encourage all of our athletes, certainly my golfers, to carry a little notepad. When I play well, I'm doing 1, 2, 3. When I'm not playing well, I do 1, 2, 3. So you're not stuck in that anxiety. You get back to the process, which is basically what we teach everybody. When it gets difficult, return back to the basics. It's the easiest lesson. Or you're struggling with this. For instance, I've caddied for years. When my golfer was struggling, it would always revert back to, if you were teaching me right now what you're doing wrong, how would you tell me to fix this? And once he walks himself through it, Shane's his name as well. He would say, are you kidding me? That was the easiest thing in the world. But it's so hard to find that when your brain's spiraling, because you're reacting to it instead of what you've done a million times, right?
I want to pivot to, you said Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, and I experienced, obviously not at their level, but an athlete, 5 a.m., class, practice, game, whole life, 24 years. And then one day somebody tells you you're done. And you look at this and you're like, what do I fill this with? Just the psychology side of it. Now, obviously, I found plenty to fill this with. But for a while there, you're looking and I don't have to get up to go work out today. I'm going to this. Do you ever talk about that just in your classes and where you can, I guess, pivot after you're an athlete?
Yeah, there's injuries similar to that one, right? When you're returning to an injury. But that's kind of a broader lesson about perspective. I'm a highly anxious person. I was an anxious athlete, which I told Jeff that led me into this field, because I knew I could perform better, but I could never get out of my own head. And after getting done with college soccer, the level way improved. But some of that lesson, like you're saying, I just did a sports psych clinic with Alton High soccer, the men's soccer team. And Toby Hennessy's there, and our colleague Greg Masolo's coaching, obviously. And I'm talking to the boys. I go, look down at your shoes right now. One day you're going to put those on for the last time. Hopefully it's late in your career on your terms, but it might not be. So when we're in the moment, be in the moment, appreciate the moment. Let's stay positive. Let's stay motivated. There's a lot of things you can do to enjoy it. So heaven forbid something happens, your career's ended early, or, you time out for whatever league and goal that you've set. How do you feel that time? Like you said, you go to coaching. Tough to coach a kid of your own in particular. It's never a good idea. But there's a lot of outlets to fill that. And those of us that are highly anxious and active, I'm very similar to Zippmann. I just have to go. And then once my lighter goes out, I'm done. I just fall over and pass out.
Did you notice he called me Zippmann?
He did.
Okay.
Yes, I did notice that.
Just making
My
sure
fault.
you got that.
So on the back to the performance level, does this become as simple as mind over matter plus talent equals performance level, or is that too simplistic?
It's tough, and because one formula doesn't work for every athlete. That's the hard part about coaching. And as you guys, you're going to talk to Coach Lacey and Coach Issac. That's the hard part is coaching, because if you're a one-size-fits-all coach, then you need to recruit that one size. If you're a coach that pivots back and forth, you got to find your leader. You got to find different pieces to the puzzle. And that's, Jeff and I were talking before. I love Coach Herb Brooks' quote. I'm not looking for the best players. I'm looking for the right players.
Say that one more time.
I'm not looking for the best players. I'm looking for the right players.
I love it.
Which means if you have a vacancy, which this is the hard part of being a coach and recruiting, there are inventories. I helped develop one in grad school at SIUE that was used for baseball. But if you're missing something like cohesion or leadership, then you actively seek that kid. You actively ask kids questions like, give me an experience in your life where you've overcome something very difficult, or here's a high pressure situation. How would you handle that? You're looking for all the pieces, because sometimes you get 12 or 15 amazing athletes, but you put them on the court, it doesn't happen. Or you see a guy or a girl who's the amazing practice player, and then you put them in a game and performance dips, which tells you they're a highly anxious person. So the coaching aspect to make all this fit together is a tremendous amount of work. If you do it up front in the recruiting, it gets a little easy for you in the season, right?
I mean, I am so fired up right now.
This kind of stuff is fascinating to me, and it seems like, as far as the really diving into the details of it, is something that's still kind of new. I think even 30 years ago, when I mentioned being in the zone, I think even we weekend athletes at some point or another felt like we were in the zone, but we couldn't have broken it down like this and had any idea why.
Yes.
And to me, this is we'll have to have you back and talk again more about this, because I think we probably just scratched the surface. And you look at some of the athletes out there who are able to do this so well, and those seem to be the ones that rise to the top of their profession. So there's got to be something to it. I want to thank you for being here and sharing what little you've shared with us today, and hope that we can get you to come back and talk more and go a little bit deeper on this subject. But thanks for being here. Keep up the great work with the golf team. The program sounds very exciting.
Yeah.
Probably something I should sign up for, but we'll see about that.
Team member Jim. Yeah.
That's right. I know. I really don't have an excuse, do I? No, I don't.
Callie, I love you, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
And enjoy spring training. Thank you for coming up to visit with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate
We'll
it.
take another short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about basketball here on the A2Z Across LC podcast.
We are
LC A to Z.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
This is the A2Z Across LC podcast. Jeff Allsman here. Cody Zippmann is next to me. We're going to talk some basketball now, as Kavon Lacey, our men's basketball coach here at Lewis and Clark is joining us, as well as our interim women's basketball coach, Issac Moore. Gentlemen, welcome to the A2Z Across LC podcast.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So, Cody, these are your guys. I mean, they're the ones that put it out there on the floor day in, day out.
I love them. They're great. Good energy.
I've seen some of their practices. There's no doubt about the energy, and they run a practice. You don't get out of there without sweating quite a bit. I've seen it.
I mean, the future is bright with these two. We're building the program ground up, right? Especially with my introduction as AD, and I can't imagine a better two guys. So I'm excited about this interview right now.
So let's let them tell us about building the program from the ground up. Well, why don't we start with Kavon and give us some of the better moments. I know you're mid-season, in fact, probably coming towards the end of this season, but talk about it a little bit, some of the pitfalls, some of the good times, some of the players that might have an opportunity to move along and go to the next level. Just kind of a summary of what the year's been like.
Hang on, before you get in, sorry to interrupt you. Talk about yourself first. Where are you from?
Oh, right here, hometown.
Heck yeah, hometown.
I just figured everybody knew that.
But I wanted everybody else to know.
Yep,
30,000 plus views, that means
I know
we're
that
across
they're coming
the nation.
from everywhere. You're right. I can't assume that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hometown, homegrown, right here, Alton High grad.
Alton High, baby, right here.
Right here, Alton High grad. We got two of them here. So, yeah.
Three,
right here.
actually, but I'm from a different era, but
Sorry
that's
about
okay.
that,
Yeah, I know.
Hey, once a red bird, always a red
That's
bird.
right. That's right.
Hey,
I'm more of a gray bird now instead of a red bird.
Yeah, but just being here, man, I'm locally homegrown. Spent a lot of my life and career here, coaching basketball, playing basketball. Had an opportunity to play in college and really grow as a young man and into an adult. And wanted to bring that back here into our community, the things I've learned along my journey, trying to help our youth in that path. Just to see there's opportunity here in our community, but there's opportunity elsewhere, and sometimes it starts here to understand what we have to be able to go out and share it with the world.
So, having said all of that, which was fantastic, now tell us a little bit about this year and the program and how things have gone.
Absolutely, not having the best year that we want to, but like our guys know, and as we preach every day, it's a process, and it's a process of getting better every day, understanding and learning what we're trying to accomplish here, what we're trying to put into our program, the mentality of the student athletes that we want to have, as well as the pedigree that we're looking for. You know, some student athletes don't know what it takes at the next level. You know, they've had a great high school career, they've had a mediocre high school career, or they've kind of, you know, they've been a best player on a bad team, and they get here and the program just isn't going to take care of you. It takes care of everybody, and everybody understands that everybody plays a role in making that happen. Our guys now, you know, we're not getting the results we want, but our guys are coming to practice every day, battling, fighting hard, and really understanding, hey, it's hard to win at this level, and it's hard to really cash those wins in every day. But if you stay at it, if you understand the process, if you keep plugging along, good things are going to happen. And you know, it's hard to see that when you're not getting the results you want, but understanding, like we say, the process is really going to get you there.
That's two guests. Callahan talked about process. Kavon talked about process. Could be a theme here.
And kind of what he said, too, also goes right along with, I'm not looking for the best player, I'm looking for the right player. And that kind of goes right along with
100%.
What both of them said now. So it seems like everybody's on the same track.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's where we are in our athletics. You know, everybody wants the best player who can run, jump, dunk, pass, do everything. But we also want to have the right student athlete here that understands, hey, class is important. This is a program, you know, it's not just basketball first. Hey, you're a student first, and understanding that it's a lot that comes with that, but it's very rewarding, you know, very rewarding.
So, Issac, you've only got a couple of handfuls of games under your belt as the interim coach. Tell us what that's been like, the challenges of walking right in mid-season and picking up where things were left off and kind of beginning to make them your own.
Yeah, it's a difficult process. it's almost impossible, right? Because at the end of the day, basketball and practice is a long overarching thing, right? It's like most people don't see it, right? A lot of people just see the coaches that go on game day. They don't see that you're in AAU gyms all summer looking at juniors, and they don't see that you have off season with your team, and then you're going to coaching conferences and developing your offensive philosophy and your defensive philosophy and how you're going to roll it out and recruit. When you jump in mid-year, you don't get any of that, right? So, the team that we have right now, everybody's a freshman, right? That's not how most rosters are constructed, right? You have kids that have various levels of understanding of the game. So it's hard to roll out exactly if you're planning on having, high IQ conceptual offense and defense like we run, it adds a little bit of difficulty. I would say we've had a lot of success. So we're at game number 6. So we've done a lot of losing, right? And I'm not afraid to say that we do lose a lot.
He says that so seriously. He goes, didn't bat an eye.
Yeah, no, we lose a lot. But there's 2 things. Number 1, I didn't realize that this Region 24 is the best women's conference, and it's not close. Lincoln Land's like a top 10. Parkland's top 10. We've played 4 ranked teams, and we've battled. So we're at 6 games in a row of out rebounding our opponent. And normally in basketball, if you do that, you win 80% of your games. And we've lost more, and we're out rebounding. And that just shows that we're doing a lot of right things and working hard. So taking over the team, the biggest thing is you can't teach everything. So, my thing is I want to instill, you guys have said it. You're okay, that's an intense practice, right? And Coach Lacey and I, we're the same kind of guy. We're let's roll it out and play. We don't need to explain things. We're not going to be all nerdy and look at a million numbers. Let's roll it out and let's play some basketball. So, we've had our first conference win in over 2 years as a program. One of my mentors, Mike Lee, he coaches over at Oak Hill. He went and he told me when I was in college, he was don't focus on letter Z when you're on step letter A or B, right? Because you'll disappoint yourself. You'll be pissed off. And he said, instead, let's focus on B or C, right? Let's go ahead and focus on, so, it's easy to focus on, we're not at the top. We're not even close to Lincoln Land. We're not even close to beating Parkland. But you say, hey, we haven't won a conference game in over 2 years. We had a home game. We blow out a team in our conference. Everybody scores. We're all participating. We're not relying on our talent per se, but we're relying on the team dynamics. So that's been a lot of fun. Doesn't mean I'm satisfied with a lot of losing. Like you said, I didn't bat an eye, but I think about it a lot. But I think the most important thing is that we're heading in the right direction. We're better than we were last week. We're better than we were last year, and probably better than we were in the last 2 years. So it's been a difficult, impossible uphill climb, but I've been enjoying it, and I'm really proud of how the girls have responded, especially the ones that have bought in.
So I think it's a good time to jump in here. So we threw out a message across to all the athletes, and really tell you the truth, anybody out there listening, when we're recording, if you shoot text messages in or messages in general, emails they could be, we're going to try to get these questions on the podcast. And our first one, I think this is perfect right now because you said it was such a big uphill climb where you came in. And Mason Farrell, one of our men's basketball players, he asked, what is the hardest part about your job?
That's a great question, Mason. It changes often for me. I would say the most difficult part for me is knowing and deciding what I'm going to build the foundations of the program on. Because like I said, you can't do everything. And you second guess that a lot. So whenever you have, for instance, a decision to be made that says, if you don't practice, you're not going to play. That's a standard. That's one of those, hey, we have to buy in. We have to buy into hard work and consistency. Well, what happens when one of your best players isn't practicing and then you're not scoring as much? That's a difficult decision to make, especially because you don't know what's going to happen on the other side of that. Our player's going to quit. Am I going to get, some negative feedback? But when you commit to your standard saying, okay, that's what it's going to be, and I'm going to build on that standard. Because, obviously everyone would like to do everything great. Like Coach said, we'd like to have those players that they pass great, they rebound great, they dunk it, they defend great, they do everything great. Well, the players that do everything great are playing at different schools. They're playing in the NBA, and they're playing at high D1 schools, right? We don't have Rob Dillingham walking in here. He does everything great. LeBron James does everything great. So it's a lot about development. And I think the very difficult thing is saying, what am I going to buy into? What small steps am I going to take? What am I going to leave to the side? And then living with the consequences of doing that. That's what keeps me up at night, at least.
And just to piggyback off of that, I think knowing the day-to-day, those decisions that you have to make. We can have it planned out for an entire month, for an entire year, but then, hey, my ankle's swollen. I can't do this. Now that throws in a wrench for me as a coach to say, okay, how do I tweak this here? How do I make this work where we may not have what we need to do it in that situation? So just the day-to-day understanding that you're going to get hit with different things every day. Illness, death in the family, bus breaks down, can't get to the game. What's the most important at that determining factor, and handling it right there. A lot of times I have guys in my office all the time. They come in, coach, what am I doing? What can I do? What can I do to play more? What can I do to help the team more? And a lot of the time we're trying to do too much at once, and we have to slow down and worry about what can I do to help me right now? Because with me, if I can help me, I'll be able to help our team. I'll be able to help the next person next to me. And as a coach, you have a lot thrown on your plate. Like I said, it's daily, every day, but it's really taking the time to really focus on what's the most important right now at that specific moment, and really going in there and taking care of that.
We're going to take a short break. Just to let you guys know, when we come back, I'm going to ask you to describe your coaching philosophy, and then I'm going to ask you what's the first thing that you say to a recruit the first time that you speak with him. So we'll give you a short time to think about that, and then we'll come back and find, I think those are intriguing questions and that are, most folks probably don't know what happens during a recruiting session. So be thinking about that. We'll come back and find out those answers here on the A2Z Across LC podcast.
We are
LC A to Z.
DJ Mike Keith. This is where I am today. Let me show you where I started.
And we're back with the A to Z Across LC podcast, and we have with us Kavon Lacey. He's the men's basketball coach here at the college. Also, Issac Moore, who's the women's interim basketball coach here at the college. Wanted to just let you know one thing. Cody had mentioned sending in emails if you have a question for one of our guests on the program, or just some questions in general. If you will send those to blazersdogbowl@lc.edu and put A to Z podcast in the subject line, we'll know to weed those out, and we'll try to answer as many of those questions as we can, and do our best to get through all those as we're able to do that in our program. So again, that's Blazers with an S, Blazers Dog Bowl @lc.edu, and just put A to Z podcast in the subject line. Okay, guys, so we said we were going to ask you a couple of questions, and we'll toss it out. Either one of you can start, doesn't matter. Give us your coaching philosophy overall, and then I'd just like to hear what it is when you either go to that school or knock on that door for the first time. What's the first thing you say to a new potential player, to a recruit that you're hoping to bring into the program here at Lewis and Clark? So who wants to? You're both looking at me like, don't call on me, don't call on me. You want to go first, Kavon? It's up to you. He's looking at you.
I got it. That was a big deal. Yeah. Okay. So I've had a lot of fun deciding, right, like what the coaching philosophy is going to be, because I've been a long-time assistant and worked for a lot of good coaches. And so you have to decide what yours is. So there's three things that I say that I think the purpose of JUCO basketball is. And so the first one is development. Like you come to JUCO to get better, right? So if you're already a Division I level player, an NBA player, you should go play Division I or go play in the NBA. You shouldn't go to JUCO. But you come to develop something. Some players it's academic, some people it's character, some people it's their basketball skills. But you have to come develop something. So most people don't realize NCAA schools, they have limits to how often the coaches can be with you. They have limits about the contact, right? And so there's a lot of limitations on how much you're allowed to have guidance and development, right? That's why they go to outside trainers and stuff. At the JUCO level, there's none of that. So, we show up, we have individuals every day, an hour of skill work. We have very long practices where we're competing. There's open gyms throughout the summer. So you come to JUCO to develop, and there's a ton of opportunities to become a better player. On top of that, the second part is what I call culture. And as I'm sure Shane and you were talking about trusting the process, that's just what they call culture building, right? So all the best teams, what I call culture is doing the right thing every time. So that's in the academics. You're doing the right. You're showing it to class. You do that every time. In practice, it's playing hard and talking, just doing the right thing. All the stuff that you can control, doing it as often as possible. And that's the exact thing that we want to do, is build a culture that says you might win games, you might lose games, but you do the right thing every single time. You play really, really hard. You guys talk and communicate. You're there for your teammates. You're a great teammate. You're great in the community. You're a great citizen. You're a great person. We love having those Lewis and Clark women's players around. They're awesome people. That's what I think culture is, and that's what the program's built on. Then the third part is advancement, right? So the sign of a great JUCO, I went and worked with Luke Strigi. The sign of a great JUCO that he had was that when I came aboard, he was like, yeah, we have to recruit all new players because all of them are playing for Division I or Division II schools on scholarship, because that's what good JUCO coaches do. They move those players on, and they're at a 4-year. Let's say they were only getting D2 offers. Now they're playing at a Division I level, and they're ready to contribute and they're ready to play. And so that's the kind of the three things that I think I really want to embody as a coach, and that's where my main focus is. So I guess building on that with players, I'm just really, really upfront when I recruit a player. So the first thing I always do is they're obviously good at something. So I either watch their film or watch them play, and I say, I like how you rebound. I like how you pass the ball. I like how you are a great teammate and you bring great energy. That's the first thing. The second thing, I'm very open about the fact that I don't want to recruit players that are used to losing. I came from Webster Groves High School, and they did a lot of winning. I was able to be part of state championship team. And so I want players that are used to winning, that are used to high standards, that are used to being pushed, that want to, they want to be pushed. They want to be part of winning culture again. So I usually am only at games of good basketball teams. And then I do something similar. I say, hey, I want to talk to your coach, or, whatever it is, something like that. And the reason I do that is I explain that to them. I'm like, I'm only recruiting players that like to win and are used to winning and are used to that culture aspect. So it's not starting from scratch. And then the third thing I do is I usually just ask for more film, and I invite them to come on campus, because we have an awesome campus here. It's one of the most gorgeous JUCO campuses in the region. We have great facilities. I love it when they come to practice, because like you said, it's high octane, and I don't want to hide who we are. I'm like, if you come in and you watch practice, you're going to know what you're getting into. And I don't think there's a real winner that would go into Lacey's practice or go into my practice and not say, let me suit up right now. I'm going to jump in there. I'm going to get something done. I'm going to be challenged. I'm going to be pushed. I'm going to win that drill. I put the score up there. I'm like, yeah, let's see who's winning this transition drill. Let's see who's winning this defensive 2-on-2 gap defense drill. So that's kind of my philosophy. We have a really big signing coming up. Hopefully it'll happen either today or sometime this week. So that's kind of my pitch. That's what the program's built on. I think we have a really good group that's ready to build upon that, and that's kind of who we are as LC women's basketball.
That's awesome, Coach. I just like I think of two things, philosophy-wise. And, Coach, not to take anything off you, but we talk about development. And I talk about that in my recruiting process. When I talk to a player, we call them, we feed to their ego. They're great. We like what you do here. You play here. You're a great teammate. You can score. But what are some of your weaknesses that you think you can work on, and get the honest truth from players who, hey, Coach, I'm an all-state guy. I'm an all-conference guy. I can really play. Or are you going to get, hey, Coach, I think I can be a better ball handler. I think I can shoot it a little better. And I want to build off of that. I want to build off of, hey, this is a place where you can get developed. We're going to develop you here. We're going to allow you to still be you, but also take you to the next level. We want you to understand that the team is first. The individual, you're coming in here to be part of our culture. We're building that. We see that you can add to our culture, but we want you to understand that we do things a certain way here. Lewis and Clark basketball isn't for everybody, and we want you to understand that. We want a certain type of athlete, a certain type of student athlete. And through the recruiting process, we want you to know that up front. We don't want to sugarcoat anything. We want to let you know, hey, this is what we're looking for. You're really great. You're a great talent. You're a great student. You're a great person. We want that in our program, but we also want to develop you to be better when you get here. So when you leave our program, you're better in our community. You're better at the 4-year college you go to next. And really that just embodies everything we bring to the table. From our first days of practice, from our students getting here on campus, being involved, being out in our community, talking to everybody. One of the things I learned being in college athletics is a lot of people know who you are, but you may not know who a lot of people are. So go be selfless. Go give yourself to somebody. It's okay to go into the elementary school and go shoot baskets with kids and let them know that, hey, this is my journey. This is where I come from. It's okay to have younger people look up to you. And I think sometimes we get caught up in it's about me. I'm the basketball player. It's about me going out. People should be all about me, but we have to be selfless and give to ourselves. And I want our athletes to understand that when you come here, that's who you're going to become. You may have that already, but that's who you're going to be when you leave here. And we just allow our athletes to be themselves. We want you to be yourself. We don't want you to hide behind, I'm this way, not around you, coach. I'm this way in the gym. I'm this way somewhere else. No, we want you to be you so we can build on that. And that's going to help our program. It is. We talk about being accountable. I say it all the time in our practices and our games. Hey, take accountability. It's your team. It's your team. If you want that guy to rebound, you tell him to go rebound. I tell him every day. I'm the coach. I'm on him every day telling him to go rebound. But if it comes from you, it's going to mean a little bit more because that's our culture. That's our close-knitness together. And we want our guys to understand, hey, I got your back. I got your back. As a coach, I want to be there to do anything I can for you. Day, night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. There's something that you need, something you're having a hard time calling, call me. Let me know what's going on. I want to be there, the extension of me to you. I want to give myself to you. Just as I demand you to give yourself to someone else, I want to do that for you because that builds what we're creating here. That builds it. And our student athletes understand that. So when we're talking recruiting, I want to let you know everything about me. Some people know about you. They know about that. But, hey, it isn't about me. It's about you and your journey. And when you come here to our program, we want you to be the best that you can be. And we're going to grow on that. Absolutely.
Cody, go ahead. You're about to say something?
Development process sounds like a couple teachers that I got in the room.
Yeah, well,
a couple teachers, not just coaches.
I jotted down a couple of notes. What I'm sensing out of both of these guys is enthusiasm, energy, and just huge levels of positivity. And those are all really good things, I think, both as a coach, as an adult who's trying to mentor younger ladies and gentlemen to move on through the program and on into wherever their next step might be. But that really comes through. I don't know if you guys try to do that or it just happens because it's just part of your character, but it really comes through in what you're saying. At least I get that. Don't you sense that?
That's why I say it's an exciting future that we have here with the basketball programs. And these two guys as teachers realize that, it's about them creating a successful platform for their student athletes.
We certainly want to thank both you guys for being with us. We wish you the best for the remainder of this year, although there's not a lot left, but a great recruiting year. I would say some time off in the summer, but you probably are just nonstop. You probably don't have any time off, but looking forward to even bigger and better things when the season kicks into gear next fall as well. And just keep up the good work, I guess. But thanks so much for giving us some of your time and your insight.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So that's going to do it. We do want to tell you that when we get into March is Women's History Month. So we're going to...
You make me feel.
I'm not going to finish it for you.
You make me feel.
Go ahead.
You make me feel like a strong, independent woman. That's for Kayla.
That's why
Kayla out there. Thanks for fundraising today.
That's why he's the star of the program. But we are going to dedicate our programs in March to information and topics and guests that can bring us all up to date on women's history locally and just in general. Some of the programs as well on campus. So just to give you just an idea of what's coming up next and some things to look forward to. So with that, I guess, Cody, take us out.
We are
LC A to Z.